Welcome to Open Pike Night, the Strange New Worlds podcast where your personal logs are the prime directive. I am your host this evening, Jesse Bailey, here tonight with some amazing guests on the stage and in the studio to talk to the one and only Roger Korby, Cillian O'Sullivan. Now, of course, with me, as always, are my co-hosts, the man who's a little bit too obsessed with immortality, producer John T. Bolds.
Hey, I've said it. I would gladly take 10,000 years. I'm just too curious about what happens next.
Or some people would say selfish. And, of course, the man who has been broken up with in song and by a Vulcan, the host of Green Shirt, a newbie's trek through TNG, Cameron Harrison.
And here I am without the big, strong, warm arms of a ruck to hold me during all that.
And yes, as we mentioned, we are very excited to be joined by Cillian O'Sullivan himself. Welcome to the Open Pike Night stage.
Thanks for having me, lads.
Oh, we're so happy to have you.
What was that? Your personal logs are the prime directive? That's a line.
Right?
A line right there. Wow.
Thank you.
You might hear some of those tonight.
Yes.
Here we go.
You will hear some personal
Off to a
logs. Cameron, did you want to start us off at the top of the outline here?
Sure, yeah. Let's just, we like to go way back to the beginning, Cillian. How did you get the acting bug? What started that in you?
Ooh, the acting bug. I mean, so I played one of the most ferocious, terrifying, disturbing villains that Epiphany School in Manhattan had ever seen when I was about 4 years old. It was called the Horrible Hogglewort. I developed this move myself where I'd go, with everything I said. And my mother kind of said, well, maybe he should be an actor. And so she took me to an open audition because I was born in New York, even though I'm putting on this accent. I was born in New York, raised in Ireland. But anyway, so she took me to an open audition for Tiny Tim in the 13th Street Repertory. And you know what? I'm going to show you the tattoo. I don't know if this is the first time somebody got shirtless on your podcast.
It might be.
Happening. So I'm not going to get fully shirtless. Everyone calm down, okay? Just calm down. So right here, that tattoo I've got. Can you see it properly?
Mm-hmm.
Just about.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
the 13 right there, you got a 13, and you got the two. So that's the symbol of the first theater that I ever performed at. It's the birthplace of all my pain, suffering, and my narcissism. And I did my Tiny Tim, and I loved it. I also played Boy in that play. So played two different characters in the same play as a child. Wow. Anyway, we then moved to Ireland and acting kind of took a back seat. And I loved boxing. I loved boxing, funnily enough. Kind of has very... Well, the similarities of staying calm under pressure are there, but I don't know. I just really took to boxing, and I got into boxing in Ireland. And, you know, at that age... drama kind of is on a certain night, like you call the class drama if you're training for drama, and it was on Wednesday night, and boxing was Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday nights down in Riverside Boxing Club in Glanmire, which is where I trained, amateur boxing club. And so I'd be disappearing on the Wednesday nights at least. Like I would go to this drama class, but that was about as far as I took it once I went back to Ireland. And you know, my mother actually came back from Ireland to Manhattan at some point and checked the answering machine. And there was a bunch of messages from like producers looking for a kid that could act or whatever. And so we missed that boat, thank God, because I'd probably be strung out and crack in the street if I turned into some kind of a child actor star. There's some actors out there managed to come out the other end of that normal. I'm not one of those people, right? So I dodged a bullet there if there was going to be any kind of child actor success. But then about 16, the acting thing was always there, and I used to get in trouble in school a lot. And you know, my class teacher in Ireland, I don't know what you call it here, you probably have something similar, but the class teacher is like the overseer of your year. It's kind of like they're not the principal obviously or whatever, but they're that teacher for that year. Okay. So anyway, my mother and her were having a talk, and she was like what's he interested in, like how do we get him to behave himself or whatever. So my punishment was with me and another troublemaker called Paul Merrick. I'm sure he wouldn't mind me saying this. In the year below me. He was the year below me. And they put us into a play that was really bad. And it was only about two lads. And me and Paul Merrick like rewrote the play to be funny. Or like, you know, and the class teacher. For God's sake, I cannot remember her name now, which is terrible. But the three of us kind of redid it, made it funny, and then we were performing it in front of the school for like the Christmas performance. And the buzz, because it was actually funny, or at least people found it funny. The buzz from making the crowd laugh and stuff, like, just kind of reignited that kind of addiction for me. And also the one kind of thing that I was like interested in that age, the two things was boxing and acting and kind of misbehaving, I guess. And I had no interest in school at all. No interest at all. I regret that now, but I really do, because there's a lot of things that I'd be interested in to just kind of go study half-assedly, and you still need some kind of high school a number above zero, because I'll get our version of SATs. I was drawing smiley faces on my mathematical questions. I was so annoyed with like school and the whole thing. I was just like, bastards. So, but at that time I had no interest. But I got this buzz, and then I went for an open audition for an Irish language speaking TV show in Ireland when I was 16, and I got that part. There's very few people in Ireland that actually speak Irish to a degree that, you know, is good enough to like do a TV show around it, unfortunately, but that's just the way it is. And I had a great interest in Irish, and I kind of was almost fluent in it at that time. The school that I was misbehaving in as well was like an all Irish speaking school. You weren't allowed to speak English. Yeah. So anyway, I went and did this TV show for this open audition in the Irish language. Then I got an agent. And honestly, like, if I didn't get the agent, my intention at that point would have either been to join the Irish Army, because my dad was in the Irish Army, and I always wanted to be in the military too, or, you know, maybe be a pro fighter or be an actor. But actor was the top of the list. And if I didn't get the agent, I would have tried to go to drama school. Okay. I would have wanted to go to maybe one of the great drama schools in England, or Trinity had a great drama school, or any of the great, the Gaiety in Dublin, something. But I just kind of started getting auditions from that agent, and I suppose for like many years I just kind of wasn't doing the work, but enjoyed having an acting job when I had it. And it was like my only kind of positive focus in my life. That was like, when I had this going, I was in some way kind of responsible. I'd show up for it. If it was another thing, I probably wouldn't show up. And so that was there, and I really enjoyed the doing. I hated the preparing. And, you know, that, but around then was when it really kind of became an obsession and like a part of my identity, and a thing where I was like, oh, this is my ambition. I want to have an acting career. That's when I really like, that was solidified for me. So I guess you're looking at like kind of late teens, early 20s. And then just kind of went from there, and went from agent to agent for a minute. And I got some TV shows. I got a little part in Vikings that was shooting in Ireland, and blah-de-blah. I got a series regular on a BBC show called 6 Degrees, which was like our first kind of taste of people like recognizing us, like me and the people that were also in the cast, on the streets and things like that. So that was kind of interesting. And yeah, and then I moved to New York, back to New York, I should say, about 7 or 8 years ago, and just been hustling ever since, you know. But that's the origin story of the acting bug.
That's how you got to Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
As a boxer, did you have tips for Ethan when he had to punch you out?
No, Ethan was able to just punch me right in the face, no problem. He didn't need no tips. Yeah, Ethan's an easily athletic person.
Yeah. So we have our favorite Star Treks, but we like to ask people what their home Trek is. What Star Trek got you into Star Trek? I
mean, like, so I'm a huge Trekkie, and the reason for that is like my old man would watch Star Trek, and yeah, and so there would always, like, he was a Trekkie to the point where like it was like an addiction of his. It was always on the TV almost, like, so there would either be the original series, The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, or Voyager would be on the TV at all times. Sometimes we'd switch it over to Predator or Terminator to be on or something like that, but it was nearly always, it was great TV in my house growing up. But my favorite is The Next Generation. Like, I'm actually rewatching that now, again, for like the God knows how manyth time. And, you know, that was really kind of what got me hooked, was The Next Generation.
Excellent.
And I love Voyager, and I love Deep Space Nine, and the original series, I've seen it all the way through probably twice, which is like, for the average person that's into something, an average amount is a lot, but like given the amount of times I've seen Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and The Next Generation through, it's not that many times. And there's no other show out there or franchise out there. Like, I'm not really like a fan of things. Like, not really. But Star Trek, all out. All out fandom. It just hits me.
It makes really good sense because TNG, famously very respectful of Irish people, right?
Oh, yeah. I shared about that today. One of my favorite lines of all time, and I used to share about this like once every couple of years, was when Data says he's talking about the effectiveness of terrorism, which, again, like, you love these the philosophy of Star Trek is just one of the things that makes it so amazing. It always makes you ask these like really difficult questions. Like, in one hand, they're like, it's that episode where the Beverly Crusher gets kidnapped by the terrorists, and they're doing their thing. And do they have the reason to do it? Sure. Are they killing innocent people? Yes. So Data is asking this very natural question for someone that's trying to be more human to ask. And he throws in the Irish unification of 2024. And unless you're living under a rock or just kind of don't care about international stuff, which is fine, like, Ireland has had such a tumultuous history, and obviously the Republic and the North of Ireland are separate. But there's this great, like, mischievous pride in Ireland about, like, the idea of unifying things, and not in a way of, like, igniting some kind of troubles that went by before. People aren't supporting like what the new IRA have done in the last like 20 years, but there's still this like this Irish mischief of like, oh, we want the country back, and so when Data said that, like, that is, and also it's hilarious because it pissed the BBC off so much that they banned that episode. So there's a saying in Ireland, and again, if there's if by any chance there's like a Northern Irish person that's Protestant and identifies as English, I love you. Okay, this is but it's still funny. So I remember going around to people, like, showing them this thing, and I'd be like, Gene Roddenberry's in the Ra, boys. So like the Ra, like the Irish people, playfully would call the IRA the Ra, and more referring to the IRA that Michael Collins and the boys that liberated the country, the heroes, did. So it'd be like, Gene Roddenberry's in the Ra after that that Data episode. So and then obviously also the Irish travelers that they brought on the ship, well, wash my feet, Riker, that whole episode. And the accents were a bit funny, but it was still great.
I hope that's what you said to Jonathan Frakes when you met him.
I barely spoke to the guy, man. I barely spoke to him. I was a bit weirded out when I met him. Like weirded out, like I was just like, oh, Jesus Christ, that's Riker. He was directing the episode after the block that I was on, and he kind of walked in and he was talking to Ethan, and he said hello to me, and he was very lovely, and he was kind of talking to Ethan, and I was the third person in the conversation, but I was just like, I didn't say anything really. You know what I mean? I was like, play it cool, bro.
Yeah.
And like when I met him, I remember he shook my hand and he kind of looked down like this for a second, and then back up, and he's like, hello. And for like the rest of the day, I was like,
power move. Got right in your head.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. He got in my head. Yeah, he dominated the room, classic Riker style. He put the leg over that chair and he just took over.
Well, we put out the call to our listeners, and we had short notice to get some calls in, but we did have some listeners send in some messages for you. So let's hear from the first one. Here is Matt.
Hey, Open Pike, it's Matt from the Prove It To Me podcast, and hello to Cillian O'Sullivan. I'm very excited to hear your thoughts and experience on the Strange New World set. You have been a refreshing addition to the cast as Dr. Corby, and I always love seeing more. I'm especially curious to know how much of your character on Strange New Worlds you pulled from the original series, how much was given to you by the showrunners, and how much is just you and your own interpretation of what's on the page. I think your portrayal is excellent. It gives such a rich backstory to the Corby from the original series, and you can ask these guys. I'm totally sold on the relationship with Nurse Chapel. It all works for me. I can't wait to see more of your work. Also, I've never been to Ireland, even though I have a deep ancestral Irish background. I will make it there one day, so I would love to know one place to go or thing to do in Ireland that tourists usually miss, but really shouldn't miss. If you have one, of course. Last, I'll ask if there was any other Star Trek character from any series that you could portray, given the chance, who would it be? Again, love what you do, and welcome again to the Open Pike Night stage. Live long and prosper.
That's all from one guy? That guy
Yes.
crushed it. Brilliant
Right.
questions.
Agreed.
So I'll start with like the second last question. Don't go to Dublin. That's my advice for like going to Ireland. Just go everywhere else. If you want to go for a piss up, go to Dublin for like 1 or 2 nights. It's great for a piss up. But if you want the Irish experience, just go everywhere else. Favorite character that I would like to portray. I actually did an interview about this recently, and honestly, I'll give you 3 actually instead of 1, because the Riker thing. I would like to play Riker in like a TNG reboot. I think I could. I grow a good beard. I've done an American accent in many jobs, and I know Riker like the back of my hand. And I'm tall. He's tall. So Riker would make a lot of sense, and that would be a dream. But it would probably be a tragedy if they rebooted TNG unless they completely crushed it out of the park, which is difficult for any production to do. You just probably should just leave it as it is. So outside of that, again, I think they're kind of all TNG characters, but the Roga Danar in the episode Hunted.
Yeah.
I'd love to play that guy, man. That's such a cool episode. It's one of my favorite episodes of all time. And also the outrageous Okana. I'm kind of picking like 3 tall dudes that have black hair or dark hair, but like they're still characters that as an actor I think I'd suit. There are 3 different shades, and I think I could play them well. So those would be the guys that I'd like to play. And then also, I think I've made up a fantasy in my head of a mirror universe bad boy pirate Captain Roger Corby.
I like that.
I want that to happen somehow.
Absolutely.
You know?
Well, also Billy Campbell, who played Okana, went on to do The Rocketeer, which I think they're rebooting, and I could see a certain Irishman
man.
as the Rocketeer, the new
Well, hey,
Rocketeer. Let's make
listen.
it happen.
We'll see what happens. Lads. And then there
Where did
was...
Corby come
Oh, yeah,
from?
so
Like-
Corby. So, yeah, I mean, the amount that I drew from Michael Strong was like, I actually tried to avoid that episode as much as I could. I actually, since I filmed Corby and even got the part, the first time that I've seen that episode was a few weeks ago. I sat down and I turned on What Little Girls Are Made Of and I watched it because it was already not going to be American. Corby's much younger. It's different. Like, the dialogue that was there too. Like, that's Corby. Like, did we even meet Corby? Like, it's an android version of Corby. I mean, it's something, and like even Kirk is saying in that episode is like, oh, if you're exactly the same, then why are you doing this, and this, right? So, the idea being that something, quite a large portion of you is lost in that transition into the android, the consciousness into the android. So, it was just going to be different, and Michael Strong delivers such a good still performance. And I just didn't want that in my head. I didn't want sometimes it's great and I you know, stillness can be something that you focus on sometimes with a certain character, but it just didn't, the dialogue, the amount of me that was going to be in Corby, it just didn't feel like it was a good idea to watch the episode. So I tried to avoid it. I only knew that that's where Corby goes. Mm-hmm. If there's anything that like happens in the future where they touch on that, or they get real close to that timeline, or they explore something about what happened to Corby in those 5 years that he's missing, then you start to get closer and closer to who that guy is. It would be really interesting to see Corby, you know, in the middle portion of that 5-year disappearance, or 2 years into that 5-year disappearance. You know, he'd have gone through something, or have discovered something, or maybe have made some sacrifices to try and get to the thing that he's trying to get to. So, but the writing, you know, and the showrunners and the direction that they wanted to go with Corby too was also already there. Like the banter with Spock, it was already like Corby was already prepared to be the way that he was, and. But then also, like, just the kind of the charm that Corby has, like, I just was trying to put whatever I feel like my friends like about me, and when I'm being playful and entertaining or likable to them, into him. And, but also, like, I've said this before, like, getting the part, like, Jess Bush was so generous and amazing in that chemistry. Like it's actually surprisingly rare to find that, because sometimes people just couldn't give a shit and they're just like, oh, or they have some other guy that they are involved that they, you come in, you're like, you remind them of their ex or something, and they're like, who knows? But Jess was just amazing, and so was the casting office, like Orly Sidowitz and everybody was just so supportive, and and then am I missing something else there?
Nope.
Now out of those questions, or did I hit them all?
I think you got them all. Yeah.
Well, the Corby you did play did have a lot to. Yeah. You had a lot to do with Corby. You had a very ambitious role, I think, stepping into this season. We were introduced to the charming, if egotistical boyfriend, but then through the scope of the season, we see Indiana Jones Corby. We get exposition giving Corby. We get little hints at the proto villain you're going to become, at the mad scientist Corby. Like, did you kind of consciously try to balance all those in your performance, or did you just kind of play the scene as is and let the editors and writers find that balance?
The one time that I was really trying to balance some stuff was in episode 5. I was looking for the places to put Corby's darkness in there, or not even necessarily his darkness, but there has to be some kind of like an obsession in Corby where he's willing to go to some extreme lengths for a certain artifact or something that might lead him to one of the greatest finds, probably the greatest find in human history, right? Like after, Zephyrin Cochrane and his, discovery of the warp bubble, warp speed, like immortality is like, that's the second one, right? Like, I mean, nobody dies anymore. Like, what tops that? I mean, maybe just having total control, becoming a Q, I guess, right? Is the next thing after that. Like I was just looking for those moments to find that, but also, like he's not there yet. He's not at the What Little Girls Are Made Of. And even when he is in What Little Girls Are Made Of, Corby's goodness is a little twisted, you see. Like, even then I think Corby's a good man, but dark thoughts, dark roads took him to a certain place where, okay, no, maybe now he's a bad guy, but, the goodness is still in him. The it's almost like he kind of arrived at a place and he was like, oh my God, like, you know what I mean? So just trying to find those moments, and I was really looking for those in episode 5. And in the final episode, like so the scene where we've got the tablet in front of us. I remember feeling this, like, okay, there's bad things happening. There's a fucking bad guy. There's, Christine's here. I love my life. I want her to be safe. But also I was like, we gotta get some more of this. We gotta go a little further here, And I just remember this kind of like an anger, almost like a dark, like a something was bubbling that day, and it was. I remember taking it in, going, "Oh, it's Corby." You know what I mean? Like Corby's. I didn't read the lines and learn the lines that day, and then decide this is how I'm going to play it or whatever, which could have just been like, panic or whatever. But it was just. I remember when I got there, I was just like feeling like I was like angry and I wanted to get at something. So, yeah.
Well, let me drill down a little bit more because, Cillian, I cannot say enough good things about your performance. I was blown away. I don't know what I was expecting from, of course, from Corby this season, but like to be as charmed by him and to find him as like lovably goofballish almost. There's a balance of like that egotistical a-hole that is still that we know will turn into, at least his robot clone will turn into a supervillain. But yet we still want to spend time with him and we still find him so charming. And I feel like Hugh Grant in Bridget Jones' Diary and you in season 3 of Strange New Worlds are like the only two examples of that I can think of that pull that off, that are like, oh, he's going to be the bad guy, but I love him. I mean, were you like consciously like, I've really got to turn up the charm on this guy, or is that just the writing and your demeanor?
I think it was the writing and, obviously acting opposite Jess. Like, and look, like, this isn't just something that I do. I always give the other actors credit. Like, Jess was a huge part of Corby. Like, she really was. She's a fantastic actor. I mean, she really does blow me away. Every time I'm looking at the scene, she's so natural. It's a very, very, very difficult show to come across natural in. any kind of a Star Trek series, any kind of a network, anything is difficult because you don't have a lot of like, you can't just improvise a bloody monologue in something that has like, such a machine behind it. You can't just be ad-libbing around the place. There is a little bit of freedom, for that, but it's just not easy to be super comfortable in a show like Star Trek, and that's not like an insult to the show or anything like that. It's just how it is. Yet Jess makes it seem so seamless, and but also just like she's just awesome. And there was a lot of that banter was just there, and then also Ethan. Like I really got along with Ethan from the second I met him, and like the immediate welcome that he gave me, and he's just one of the lads, and I really got along with him very quickly. And became good friends with him, and that was just all there. But then, the whole vibe of 302 specifically allowed Corby to be so charming too, I think, like the whole episode, like just like the tapestry of having Rhys Darby as Trelane, the soundtrack, the writing, thankfully the chemistry between me and Ethan, and then the chemistry between me and Jess Bush, and so it was just kind of, that was just how it was supposed to be. Corby was just supposed to be that way, and then also everything was there to allow him to be as well.
I love it. And you heard it here first, Paul Merrick. Cillian doesn't just give out kudos to his fellow actors. So feel good about that, man.
Yeah, damn right, Paul. Fair play to you, wherever you are.
So, speaking of 302, did you have any acting notes for your dog counterpart?
A couple, because I tell you what, my boy here, Neptune, auditioned for that role. And they didn't give it to him.
No.
I was wondering, because Chrissy gets her dog into the show.
He is very cool looking.
Neptune is a Doberman, and not only that, he's a very beautiful Doberman. He's a very handsome dog. Like, he's gorgeous. And, so they rejected Neptune. So I think Neptune might have done it a couple of different ways, but... no, she was amazing, and I think she's actually a little actor dog, and it was great to just have her hanging around all day on set, and she was just so cute. Like I think that might have been the first time I've worked with like an animal on set that like I was allowed to hang out with. I was in a movie set in prison one time, and there was like German Shepherd attack dogs, but we weren't really hanging out with them and petting them. I'm sure we probably could have, but. Dogs like that are so like focused to be like on work mode and start barking at you and shit. Like you can't really distract them. But Luna was just like sitting around on the chair, and we'd all be up rubbing her and stuff. So she was wonderful to work with.
You had to get a photo with her, with you both in the costume, right?
Oh yeah. No, I've got a couple of those. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about Wedding Bell Blues, John, I think this is a good time to play our question from Melanie.
All right, here we go.
So hi, this is Melanie. I'm still on vacation and I'm recording with my mobile. So just a quick question. How much fun was doing Wedding Bell Blues and wearing that funny headband and all that stuff? Because I think it was so much fun to watch it. Thanks guys, and take care. Live long and prosper, Melanie.
Well, thanks for that question, Melanie. Live long and prosper right back at you. The 302 was so much fun. Really, some of the most fun that I've ever had doing anything. And the headpiece, like when we were trying on the different costumes, like every costume had the intention of Trelane is trying to embarrass you. Right, Trelane doesn't like you, and so they were all hilarious. But it was really like when we put on that blue wedding outfit, and then Bernadette walks over, who's the main costume designer, and she just has the flower crown, and she's looking at me like that, and she just kind of goes, and everybody just started laughing, and we were like, okay, that's the one, and. I really like the scene where, the way Ethan plays it when like he walks up to me and he just kind of goes like, he just like looks up at the crown. So that was great. And it was funny just kind of walking around the set with that thing on my face and everybody looking at me going like, what an idiot,
If I can pull the pieces together, I want to do that cosplay at a Trek convention someday.
It would kill.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Speaking of which, have you done any conventions yet, or is that something you're looking forward to?
No, I probably will be going to some conventions. Yeah, and but not yet, and I cannot wait because, believe it or not, as such a big dork, would you shut up out there? New York, man.
There's
hell.
the New York.
Yeah. So I've actually never been to like a Comic-Con or anything like that. Like I've just never gone, and I really want to go. And I've got a couple of things now that I've done where like it's feasible for me to go as like just professionally, but also I just want to go as a fan. So one of my buddies is in Section 31, the movie, and he was at the Comic-Con. I think the last one that was in New York, and Ethan was there and everything. And I was gonna go. I can't remember why I couldn't go, but I was like everything was set up, and like I was going to be hanging out with them and stuff, and. I can't remember why I didn't go, but I was gutted. So I'm dying to go, and I'd love to go to a bunch of them. I'd love to go to like tiny ones in Arkansas behind a subway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to go to loads of them. The one where there's like 4 fans, and then the big ones. I just want to be going to them all the time and just take it.
I love it, man. If you end up in Vegas, we know.
No offense to Arkansas.
If you end up in Vegas, we know 3 guys who can put together a pretty all right Strange New Worlds panel if you're interested in that. So.
Yeah, sounds good.
So-
to me.
Drag you to karaoke.
While you're on,
I can't sing, but yeah, I'll go.
that's not a requirement.
Not a requirement. Yeah.
Okay.
So the other big guest star this season, of course, was Rhys Darby, as you mentioned. Just what was it like working with Rhys?
Amazing. I mean, like before Rhys Darby was showing up, a lot of people were like, oh, Rhys Darby. And I hadn't seen What We Did in the Shadows, but I kept hearing that this guy was like amazing. And from the second I met him, I remember, the fighting thing, one of my favorite fighters is Israel Adesanya, okay? He's a New Zealand fighter. And I was talking about Izzy I say Izzy as if he's my best friend. He did send me a video one time telling me to lock in. So that's cool. A buddy of mine, let me just explain that real quick before people are saying that. Cillian O'Sullivan claims to be Israel Adesanya's best friend. A buddy of mine is a director, and he works for GQ sometimes doing those big interviews, right?
Oh, okay.
And he does a lot of the UFC ones, and he told Izzy, hey, my buddy's like a really big fan, and Israel was looking over his shoulder, looking at the phone, seeing me typing, and one of my questions was I was like, is he glowing like Zeus? And he saw that, and then I was saying to Chris, it's like, I'll kill anyone you want me to kill if you can get a voice note from Israel Adesanya. So then the voice note comes through, and then he sends me a video, and he's just so huge fan of Israel Adesanya, and but he's from New Zealand, and so is Rhys Darby. So I was talking about him, and then Rhys Darby kind of goes, oh yeah, I think he's a fan of me, actually. He follows me on Instagram, I think. And I was like, do you follow him back? And he's like, no, I don't think so. And it was just a hilarious interaction, and also just so baller, and so it was just amazing. And I was like, I fucking love this guy. And so hanging out with him in the green room and stuff, and he was just a cool dude, really nice, really funny, and very much just himself. And what I mean by that is like just making that joke about Israel Adesanya. It's like, you're not trying to be overly modest. You're just like, you're living in the banter of like where you're at in your life and in your career, and it's just it was great. But anyway, also I've told the story a few times, so it's out there. But there's that interaction with Corby and Darby, or Corby and Trelane, in when he comes into the room as disguised as the Andorian, and Corby calls him an Andorian annoyance, and so Rhys suggested that I lean into him when I'm leaving after he just keeps calling me Corbs or whatever, and I go, Dr. Corby, right? And as we're leaving, that was entirely his suggestion, and it just like brought the house down. So yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing working with Rhys Darby, and he came up with us a couple of nights for some wings and bits and bobs, and yeah, it was great having him.
That's so
hopefully
great.
there's plenty more Trelane in the future.
Yeah.
We're all hoping. We're hoping that's where the puppets come from.
Yeah.
Well, I promise this is my last Wedding Bell Blues question. This actually comes from our good friend, caller and listener, Lucy in London. She'd like to know, if you saw the head on the Guinness being served at the wedding, and if you did you say anything?
I did not. I actually, so I don't drink. I'm the strangest Irishman that ever lived. I do not drink. I used to, but I'm a bad boy with a checkered past. No, I am, but we're not getting into that now. So I don't drink, but I did have my first non-alcoholic Guinness that day on set, but it was out of the can. And because I'll have a non-alcoholic beer if it's 0.0. If it's 0.5, you neck enough of those, you've had a light beer, right? So 0.0 non-alcoholic Guinness tasted great, but I had the first time that I saw that pint of Guinness, that pathetic pint of Guinness, was when the episode aired. And what's funny is, like, obviously nobody noticed it, but the thing is like, it came out of a can, okay? But I wonder, was it even Martin's hand double that picked it up? Because Martin surely would have said something, like, surely somebody could have, spun it up. Did you ask Martin about that? I don't know. But, because I did, I remember I texted Martin, I was like, dude, Jesus, those fucking pints of Guinness were pathetic. And he's like, that's literally what everybody's texting me about that. Everyone. Yeah. And but anyway, I did not see the pints getting served, and I wouldn't have been like, hey guys, you know what I mean? But I would have probably cheekily said, like, that's the worst pint of Guinness I've ever seen. Don't air this in Ireland or something, you know?
Yeah, right, yeah.
But yeah, I definitely didn't see it. I had one out of the can, but yeah, so I was not able to help with the Guinness situation on the day.
Damn.
Yes, so everybody relax. It's not Cillian's fault.
Yeah. It's not my fault.
I feel like this is how Kirk takes his hot dog thing all over again.
Yep, yes. Exactly.
How Kirk takes his hot dog? What's that?
Jesse, do you want to explain?
Yeah, he takes them incorrectly. So in season 2, there's a time travel episode with he and La'an where they go back to Toronto, and Kirk finds a hot dog stand, and he's like, we got to eat hot dogs. And then he brings her these 2 completely naked, undressed hot dogs.
How you should eat a hot dog.
Right.
Nothing on them.
Yeah.
Exactly how you should eat it.
We may have had a season-long spat about it.
We may have made stickers. Kirk was right and Kirk was wrong. So yeah.
It was.
Okay,
it was a whole
I know
thing.
what you're talking about now. Yeah. But my God, and look, I mean, that bartender too has like 8 arms, right? So you think that she'd be cranking out, but it's not her fault either. It's someone's fault. Maybe Trelane was still fucking with people.
Definitely Trelane.
Yeah. It's definitely a
blame it on him.
Guinness. A Guinness.
Yeah.
Well, as a Trekkie, Cillian, how long were you on set until you sat in the captain's chair? And what was it like raising eyebrows with Spock?
One of the greatest moments of my life was raising eyebrows with Spock. But I do remember the first time that I was able to, like, just get away and just, like, roam around the sets on my own. I went into the bridge and, sat around and I really wanted to, like, get into it and kind of, like, do a bull rat and go, no, I have a chair, But, and, like, just be a captain. But I was too afraid that, like, one of the cool, like, grips would have walked in and would have been like, what the fuck? But I sat in the chair. Nobody else was there. I didn't take any videos or anything like that. I took a video of the bridge the first time I walked in there, but for some reason it's the one video that's, like, extremely grainy. So there was some kind of tachyon emissions going on in the bridge that day. I don't know.
Nice.
But, yeah, I'll have to get a picture on it one of these days.
I love it. So John and Cam, now later in this season, when I make a my warp joke, you'll know why. Not my fault.
Understood.
Absolutely.
Understood. Well, I would ask about, just because it's one of those funny scenes where when you get broken up with over the video call.
Right.
And so you had to set up this whole scene for just one shot of you in your archaeological tent. And I'm just wondering, like, did they just throw a tarp up in Jess's quarters or Chapel's quarters? Or, like, hey, what was it like filming that little moment?
That's a good question, because it was funny. Like, I mean, I actually spent most of my time in Toronto while we were filming Star Trek, because the strike had happened right before we started shooting. And right before the strike happened, my lease was up. And so when the strike came along, I was deciding to, like, kind of Airbnb and, like, waste my money and sublet and stuff, thinking the strike would be over in, like, a month or two. And then when Star Trek came along, I was like, I'll just while I'm filming, they can put me up somewhere, and when I'm not, I'll sublet. So like it was like I'd kind of been floating around Toronto, but still hanging out with the cast, even like between episodes. And I think so that episode was episode 8. So I had a lot of time off between 5 and 8. Jordan Canning was directing that episode also, and Jordan Canning directed episode 2. And I'd been hanging out with Jordan a few times in between 2 and 8 because she lives in Toronto. She's Torontonian, and so she was there, and there was just a bit of banter and stuff, but it was awkward. Like, it was really awkward because it was just like, but Jess was there because Jess is awesome, and some actors in scenes like that, they're not going to show up. There's going to be an AD going like, yeah, we're broken up, you know what I mean? But Jess showed up, and she was down there, she was doing the dialogue with me off camera.
Nice. That's awesome.
But it's funny that you asked that, because it was awkward, and I actually I wasn't feeling very, very comfortable in that scene, because you're also just like looking right into a camera, and you can kind of see the reflection of yourself, and but Jordan and Jess being there got me through it. But it was just like the set was actually just like kind of like off one of the stages, and just kind of like a shaped up little set. It was a lot more than just like a sheet. It was literally a constructed set of Corby's little pocket. But,
I just loved how it was like the most classic archaeological dig set ever.
I know,
in a good way. I loved it. I mean, especially for that episode, it worked perfectly. And then I love how like Corby's a great guy. He gets broken up with and he leaves whatever work site he's on and like goes directly to go find Chapel and find out what's going on with her.
He appeared real quick, didn't he?
Real quick.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And the plomeek soup was actually quite tasty. Yeah.
Okay. We just spoke with Melissa Navia. We asked her what the alien millipede that she ate was made out of.
Hey, can we just say one thing before, like, I can't. The death of 2 cute aliens in one season, man. No.
Are you talking about the Gorn or the centipede?
The centipede, God rest it, but the fucking space dragon thing that flew itself into the sun.
Yeah.
I was like, and then the Gorn, and Lan and everybody's like, I was like, bro, like, 2 of these like painful deaths, like barely 2 episodes apart. I was like, God, that's a lot. Sorry. Anyway, back to the
No, you're good.
Alan McElroy humanizes the monster and then he kills it.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
No, we have to ask, what did you get to taste the plomeek soup, and do you know what it actually was? Like, did they tell you, oh, this is beets or something? Like,
I cannot remember what it was, but it was tasty. I know that much. And what was that Melissa ate for the?
Okay, so it's like a blended mixture of cherry and mango juices, because the props department thought like, oh, this will be easier for her to eat, right? Because it's sweet. But then they put like chunks in it of like Oreo to really mess with the texture. And it turns out Melissa has an aversion to fruit. So when she's gagging in that scene, she is not acting.
She hates the taste of fruit.
Very close to being sick on set.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know.
Not as good as plomeek soup, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like the plomeek soup, like, no, my mind could totally be making this up, but I feel like it was like purple leek soup. That's
okay. That makes sense.
I feel like that's kind of what it tasted like. And I know we did it like a few takes where some of it was more like, like real bad, or like, and then we did that one where it was just like it's hot. But
well, the take where you gave the look when Spock told her how bad it was.
Yeah,
right then I was like, all right, I am 100% for Corby this whole scene. Like that one look.
That look.
Like, yes.
But I don't know what it is about Spock and Corby, but like they really like they're just such opposites, I guess, and they just kind of really play off each other.
Well, so similar, but I mean, I could watch a whole buddy comedy with those.
Seriously,
please, let's do the spin-off.
Yes, you did buddy comedy with the most important character in television ever. Like, that's amazing.
Exactly. I mean, listen, I've my first scene filming on a Star Trek set in anything to do with Star Trek was walking down the hallway of the Enterprise with Spock. It was insane. Man. It didn't make it into the series. Maybe I was being nervous as fuck, but that was my first ever scene, was walking down the hallway with Spock as a Trekkie.
That's crazy.
And an actor.
A walking Spock.
Yeah. A walking Spock. Like, it's one of the most iconic things ever is to be walking down the hallway of a ship in Star Trek.
Yeah,
Man.
It's every series has it. You know, and it's always like, you know, like I shared a post today on my Instagram for Star Trek Day, and the last post is this. It's 40 seconds of a 10-hour long video called Captain Picard and Riker being more awesome than anything, or more cooler than everything, for 10 hours. It's a 10-hour video. And it's just the two of them marching down the hallway to chill, and it just goes on a loop for 10 hours. Like, what? Like, I just couldn't believe that was my first scene. So yeah, and anytime I was, you know, I will watch, like, I don't really make a habit of watching back my work again and again and again or anything like that. I do always watch it because you learn, right? You'll find moments you're like, oh, Jesus. And that, for me, teaches me. But I will watch Wedding Bell Blues a few times before the androids get us, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
We do have one more caller tonight. Here is Platty.
Hey, Open Pike Night. This is Platinum 3 calling in with my hits, shits, and giggles for Cillian O'Sullivan's entire career. All right, here we go. Just kidding there. It's all hits, of course. I'm not going to do my normal bit this time.
Hits.
Rather, I'd like Cillian to do it instead. So, 3-part question for your guest there tonight. Cillian, what scene or scenes were your favorite to shoot, your hits? Which one ended up being an oh shit one that either took a lot of takes or was rough to do because everybody was laughing or just tough to do for any reason? And which scene made you just giggle the most throughout? So, before I sit back and listen, just want to say thank you so much for bringing life to a character we'd only seen as a heartless android previously. Platty M3, signing off.
Great question. So, favorite scene to shoot? The one where I'm kissing Jess, but no.
You can be honest.
Fair.
It's either the scene with Spock in the science lab, with, you know, that lab with the water, or the one in the quarters with Spock's bachelor's party, and the reason being is just like they felt very comfortable just as an actor. I felt like the work was good, and I wasn't like trying to figure out how to get things out, or after each take on Jesus that was shit or whatever. It was just fun to do, but also it was really just Cillian taking in that I'm in Star Trek, like, you know. But I would say that scene walking down the hallway, but A, it's not in the show, and B, I was terrified. So, and I feel like it was one of the first jobs in a long time where I did my own accent. The accent was like quite a conversation as to what we were going to do, and I was trying not to do my Irish accent. I was even trying to do British. So the fans of the Irish unification of 2024 won't be happy at that one. But I was trying to do a British accent. But so I feel like I was doing like a really strong Cork accent by accident. Like I was kind of like, you know, and I remember our dialogue in that scene was about wine selection. It was like right after we had that scene with Sam Kirk, with Dan. And we were like bantering about wine, and I think I was kind of like, yeah, you know, I like a bit of a Pinot Noir, like, you know what I mean, like real Cork. So, but that was a very surreal scene. But the most enjoyable scenes would probably be one of those two scenes.
Well, both those scenes have Sam Kirk, and that is the real buddy comedy I want to see, is those three.
Oh my God, he's so funny. Like, especially when he's like sitting with the dog, and he's like all oblivious to everything. He's like, you know, but the last two questions, I would say that the same scene, it wouldn't be like, oh shit, it was like. But what one gave me the giggles and what one was kind of difficult to shoot was a scene when me and Ethan were sitting on the end of the bed and we had to do the eyebrow thing. I can't remember if it was the eyebrow thing or something else, but it's actually like Paramount sent out some outtakes recently enough for us to approve, and it is in there. Like I actually like couldn't stop laughing. And like, because, you know, Ethan, of course, this is the problem with getting into the giggles with Spock. Spock is dead serious all the time, right? So, like, he can't be about to laugh almost ever unless something weird's happening, you know? Like, something weird is going wrong with Spock's Vulcan brain or whatever. And I couldn't stop laughing. It was a lot of fun. It was banter, but, like, that's that scene. It was something that set me off on the end of that bed. And he was laughing too, but the thing is like, it's one thing if you're laughing all the time when the coverage is on you, but the coverage was on him. And I kept ruining his takes because I was laughing, and I was just like, "Oh, dude, I'm so sorry." And he was totally fine. But yeah, so that's the oh shit and the giggle scenes all in one.
Fantastic.
Such a good scene, though.
Yeah.
So our good friend Abby Summer from the First Flight podcast, anyone out there who likes Enterprise should check it out, would like to know, what 3 books do you recommend everyone should read?
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Cillian, literally today, I was thinking, God, I hope they cast you as Professor Lockhart in the TV series. I think you would make an amazing Lockhart.
I've even thought about who I could play in that too. But thank you.
Who would you like?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I might be a little big, but serious. Big physically. Not, if they call, I'm taking the part. Or Lupin, perhaps.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
I mean, those are
Lupin.
both good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay. Or just a dark wizard. That'd be great. So one of my favorite actors is Jason Isaacs, who played Lucius Malfoy. So maybe with a long blonde wig, a younger Lucius Malfoy, but Lockhart. Okay.
Well, yeah, I really wish they had done. I think Kenneth Branagh's is really funny, but you can't take him. I just don't buy that anyone would actually fall in love with that guy. And I always it should have been Hugh Grant, because I could buy people falling for Hugh Grant, but also him being a total D.
Yeah.
And then when I was comparing Corby to that, I was like, oh well, it's the same character basically. I buy that Jess is into Corby. I also buy that he's going to turn into a killer robot at some point.
I'm going to email my agents tomorrow and be like, hey guys,
Hey,
if
you check out this Open Pike Night
our-
when they say it.
Yeah, I mean, nothing came across the table audition-wise for the first year, but that makes sense. I don't know who I would really play in the first year, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking that maybe I'd have to lose 80 pounds and just be a really lanky, shrivelly Sirius Black potentially, but yeah, okay, Lockhart.
Well, any of them I'd be happy for. I'll
There
keep
you
my
go.
fingers crossed.
I'd play a broken wand. You know what I mean? I'd do anything. Yeah.
So in the final scene of Wedding Bell Blues, what song were you guys dancing to while filming? Or was it all just quiet dancing?
That was no. The song that played in the episode was what we were.
Okay,
isn't it the
Nice.
song from Zoolander?
Yep.
Yeah,
Wake Me Up.
Yeah, Wake Me Up Before You Go. That was playing on set. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
They had cleared it already. That's great.
And unless I'm insane and making things up, but I'm pretty sure that they were playing it on set, and me and Jess were doing dance rehearsals and stuff for that song for a while to the song. So that
Very cool.
that was decided.
We'd made a mashup with what was
Cotton
the
Eye
song?
Joe.
Joe.
Cotton
Oh,
Eye
yeah?
Joe.
Yeah.
And it fits eerily
Pretty
well.
well.
It's
It's
so
really
spooky.
scary how
Oh my, you
good
gotta
it fits. Yeah.
find it. It's on
I
our
think
Instagram, right?
It should be on our Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check it out. I used to love that song when I was younger. Absolutely used to love it.
Everyone of a certain age did, yes.
Oh yeah, and it had to be a wedding dance. So
100%.
for sure, yeah.
So, one of our wonderful Discord members, Questor, would like to know how you were cast. Was it an open call? Were you approached? I mean, we love the casting directors. We spoke with them. They're the sweetest people we've ever met. But how did that process happen?
Well, I mean, for the most part, your agents get you auditions and you do them. And 90% of them, 99% of them don't go your way. But, and you might give the greatest performance of your life and it still won't go your way. It's just how it is. But I will say that I had just had a conversation with my agents 2 weeks prior to that going, I want to be a part of Star Trek somehow. And I said, I want to be a part of Star Wars. And I said that there's, these are a couple of franchises that I really want to be a part of. And next thing, Star Trek Audition came through. And it just happened to be, it didn't say that it was Corby. It just said it was this archaeological dude who's charming and whatever. But I knew it was for Star Trek. And so, and the audition, I knew that what I needed to show was a combination of charm, the romantic element, because I was telling a love interest, communicating like exciting archaeological jargon. Okay, what was there was definitely not in the show, but it was like this made up race, and it's like, talking about like some kind of a disease that made them do this or made them do that, and so I needed to communicate the excitement, and a lot of it was expositional too. And I'd worked in a TV series before called In From the Cold on Netflix, where I played an American CIA agent called Chauncey Lou, and it was a very over the top spy show. And we had a lot of exposition in a show like that. And I remember the showrunner, Adam Glass, came up to us at one point and he's like, guys, it's something like we were doing like rehearsals or something like that for the first like episode or whatever. And before we started, he told us all to go watch Sherlock Holmes with Benedict Cumberbatch, because he was so good. Now it's different because Sherlock Holmes is like, that's his thing, is like getting excited about, in that show at least, about the murder and the this and that. He makes it interesting because he's interested in it so much. But he was just trying to teach us how to make exposition interesting, because for the most part it's just bollocks, and you're just trying to, it's there for the audience. It's not really something that characters are going to be saying in like a real scenario as an actor, right? So I remember taking that lesson from In From the Cold and going, this is one of those moments where it's important to keep the exposition riveting and getting people to keep paying attention, even though they don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, right? All these big bollocks words. It's like how like LeVar Burton and people like be carrying on with all this shit, and I'm fascinated. I have no idea what they're saying. It's because it's a certain skill. So I knew I just needed to show that. And I remember like there's nobody there. I was looking at the corner of my laptop and I was trying to be all like as seductive as I could, like, look, while doing all this exposition. It was better than that, okay? I didn't just do that. But I...
that works, though, just so you know.
You guys would have given me the part, so that's good.
Marjorie and Orley said, like, it was the way he just stared at the corner of the screen and waved his hands around.
Yeah, he just looked like an endearing psychopath, and we gave it to him. But, and then, yeah. So I remember just, like, really focusing on those elements, and then we kind of got the call back, and then I discovered who it was, and there was some, and I really just was honest in the callback about like what I was thinking. I remember saying he's not American, and I remember Orly agreeing with me, and there was just something about the way it was written and the banter and this. It's every time because we did it American, British, and Irish, and every time we did it American, like with that dialogue, it just like the energy slid. If it was written a different way, it could have been way better as an American or whatever, right? Like, it's just, and there was South African was an option too. So because we were doing so many different options, there was something about the zest just went every time we went to American. And maybe that's me as an actor, but I'm pretty sure it was just like how it suited the dialogue. And yeah, and so just that kind of honesty. But then, like I've said, the Jess and Orly and all that allowing me to do my thing. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that was a rant about how I got the part, but I feel like maybe I answered the question.
No, I mean, like...
Asked my agents I wanted to be part of Star Trek, got the audition, did the audition, got the part.
And that's...
Should have said that 10 minutes ago.
That's part of what we're here for. Like, we have spoken to a lot of folks who say, like, this has always been a dream for me. So, like, we're happy to give you the space to talk about your dream, man. Like, that's
right.
Yeah.
That energy is clearly what made your Corby pop. So thank you very much.
I feel we have to ask, just to tie everything together.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, did your father, is he still around? Did he find out that you were on Star Trek?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. He's hyped.
How was that? What was that like telling him?
They haven't watched it yet at home, but they're gonna. I'm actually going back to Ireland on the 17th for the first time in like 3 years. I haven't been able to go home in forever. Yeah, it's just been a bit of with the strike, and then I was booking jobs that were I was in Morocco for a while, and I was here, and then I was in New York, and so I'd like book a flight, and then something would come up where I couldn't go. So I'm going back soon, and we'll probably all watch it then.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That'll be something, I'm sure.
Yeah. Fantastic. But like, it's funny, like my dad will probably... He's like, you don't understand. Even to this day, if I'm at home and I'm walking past his room, one of the theme tunes from DS9, TNG, or Voyager is playing. It's like, it's crazy.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just nuts that I got to be in Star Trek, you know, it's just crazy. Yeah. It's like some manifestation shit there. I don't know how much I believe in that stuff, but, you know, with this one, it might have been a thing.
I don't have another question, but I am known for a certain thing here on the show, so I want to say, man, you killed it, and we are so grateful to have you as part of Star Trek Forever. This is amazing, man. Thank you.
I appreciate that, chance. Listen, guys, great questions, great podcast, great content. I hope you get a bazillion subscribers by the end of the month.
Tell your friends. We'll get your mom at least, right?
I'm subscribed. I'm liking everything. I'm watching everything.
Thank you.
All the support, lads. Wish you all the support and all the success.
Much
Thank you so much.
appreciated.
Thank you.